Good day, Merry Meet. My name is Glennis, and I am the Witch of Whitetail Hollow. I want to warmly welcome you to my channel. I want to thank you guys so much for joining me. And if you haven't subscribed, well, then I hope you consider doing so. I do not have a set schedule that I upload on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or whatever. You guys know Spirit moves me as I've been moved this morning. I have been in ritual for hours and hours and hours and simply had to stop and start my mundane day. But I wanted to touch bases with you guys. This is going to be a wee bit of a chatty video. I'm going to warn you ahead of time. So if if that's not your cup of tea, then I certainly totally understand. But I wanted to give you updates on my life, on updates on the channel, spell updates, and just a wee bit of chat and just kind of touching bases because next week, I know it's the holidays, I know, but I'm going to try to put a few videos out that I hope that you guys will be interested in. But I'm I've got a theme, an owl theme happening here today. And one of the reasons, of course, I'm having my cup of tea. And one of the reasons that I make that owl connection is, and I've shared this story with you before, but that was for me in my spiritual path, a pivotal point that was made when I became probably an average witch into an awesome, powerful witch. And that was my connection with Hecate. And I was involved with a group of people and we hiked. And I'm not talking about we're slogging through the woods. I'm talking about a challenging hike. And of course, everyone was younger than me. And for me, it was a challenge keeping up, even, several pounds ago. It was a challenge. And because part of the hike was literally climbing and pulling yourself up. And so, but it changed my life. And not only did we do that once, but we did that several different times. And each and every time I made a very strong connection with an owl. And I know it sounds kind of odd. Well, yes, he probably lived in the area, but the reality is in hindsight, before the hikes, before I became involved with a group of people, Hecate was trying to make that connection. And finally, it was the owl that brought it all into my epiphany. And we will be speaking about another epiphany soon. But I would hike and we would get to a certain point, and it wasn't that this owl lived in this particular point. I believe that he lived in the whole area that we were hiking, but we could see him. There would be a knoll and very large trees, and you could clearly see an extremely the largest owl I've ever seen out in the wild. And we would, take 5 minutes and stand there and study him a little bit. And I'm sure he studied us a little bit. And as we hiked on, he would follow us down. And finally, after we had gone to that particular area several different times, I took it upon myself, if we're going to stop, then I'm going to investigate a little bit further. I'm going off the beaten path, so to speak. You guys know me. I'm going to be off the beaten path and approach him. And, all of my friends there, they're going, no, that's not safe to do. Well, to me, safety didn't even enter into my thought process. My thought process was, oh my goodness, he's here. I'm seeing him again. He's followed us. and I want to get as close as humanly possible, and I did. And that was after I approached him and came back down safely. Of course, my friends are going, that is Hecate, plain and simple, coming into your life. And ever since then, I have kept that open line of communication with her, and of course different gods and goddesses and demons and spirit guides and whatever else that I deem appropriate. But ever since then, I have become more confident and happy. So yes, I love my owls. I love my tea. And, but now as far as life updates are concerned, I mentioned probably a couple of months ago that I had applied for a scholarship at an herbalist school. This was probably about a 2-year course work, and it's with an incredibly marvelous group of people. I have done my, of course, due diligence before I even applied for the scholarship to see if I would be a good fit. And I thought, well, since I'm retiring within the next year or so, and this particular school is within probably about a 2-hour drive of the Hollow, and I thought, well, that will be just marvelous. I'll be at the Hollow, and I will be developing my gardens. I will be, of course, developing a very, very strong witch's herb garden. And then I get, I think it was last week, an email, womp womp, turned down for the scholarship. But you know what? That's okay. It's really totally fine, because I had someone else come to me and present a different path. It's still with herbalist, and so I'm going to pursue that path, and I'm going to be successful in pursuing that path. And if this particular school comes back to me and says, so-and-so, has declined or whatever, then of course I will join them. But at the moment, I'm going to take another path, although it be kind of the same, but slightly, slightly different. And, I know that you guys have heard me say this before on my channel ad nauseum, but I will say it again and remind you, there are no coincidences in our lives, and nothing, nothing ever stays the same. So never give up. Sometimes an obstacle is removed and a path is laid before you very quickly. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer. So don't ever give up and think, what am I going to do now? That job, I didn't get that job, or this relationship didn't work out. You do you. Be the very best you that you can, and things will work out. Okay? But now, a spell update. If you don't, I want to say, if you don't see your spell here going, don't despair. It might be behind me, and I'm trying to hide it a little bit. It might be like right in front of me. I have one going over here. This particular spell, of course, I will be doing a private update, but I hope that they are listening, because they have 2 candles here. This is a road opener, and although I do enjoy using orange, and which you do see some orange here in a road opener, and I find it incredibly effective for a road opener, not only in materials but in color as well. I chose this because this has more to do with financial aspects of their life, and the way this has been burning and continues to burn, the finances, the obstacles are going to be removed. The money, the funds will come in many, many different directions, because this is, and I don't want to start tipping candles to show you guys, but the way it is splaying out, the money is coming in very, very different directions. So that is always a positive thing. This particular spell has been kind of ongoing here and there. And as you can see, it has, formed very, very quite differently. It's got a little bit of a peekaboo here, but some people would read this candle as a failure, and I don't ever read any of my spells as failures. This particular one, and you'd have to know what the spell is too, but this particular one is, for lack of a better definition, is closing in on itself, but it's still rearing its, peeking out at us, rearing not its ugly head, but it's still watching us. So this is still a very, very positive spell. This particular one back here is the spell that I uploaded, I think last week, spell for a wise decision. And this particular spell started working within 12 hours because I received an email the next morning. And, this is one of those spells that I cut off before I actually finished my verbiage. But I received an email the next morning saying, X, Y, and Z and 1, 2, and 3. And basically the person that I did the spell for had an epiphany. So in that respect, there was wise decisions made for two people. So this particular spell is a roaring success because it not only worked on one, but it worked on and is working on two people. Now, this particular spell is part of advanced candle magic, and a lot of it wasn't explained ahead of time. So I should just go right into channel updates. I have been toying with the idea. Now, you guys know, one week you may see a spell. The next week I may be sharing essential oil recipes. I may be sharing immunity recipes, different things like that. So as far as my channel is concerned, I'm incredibly random, and I do allow spirit to move me, just like they did this morning. So I have been toying with the idea, and of course, drop a comment below with the idea of offering advanced candle magic and, of course, herbs and different things like that as part of I'm going to say 3 to 4 months. It could go on longer. It certainly won't go on any shorter. Now, this is for people who are already in practice, and this is just a way of taking your magic and developing yourself to a different level. This will not be available, it will be available on a YouTube platform, but it will be, I believe YouTube offers like paid premium memberships, and I'm going to offer it this way. Now, I am not huge on paperwork saying, okay, here is your study sheet. I will give you, of course, a materials list. I will be explaining as much as I can on paper. I will absolutely be doing a preface video explaining the spell. I will be doing the spell itself without interruption, as I go along. Well, this is this, because for me, that in a way kind of interrupts a spell. So I'm doing my spell work, particularly if I upload a video, very often you will see I've cut it because I want to carry on without, every single eye in the world to be able to see it. So this is, like I said, this is not for someone just starting out. So if you're interested in that, let me know and I can go ahead and kind of get started on it. It's, like I said, I'm not really big on paperwork. I'm not going to send you a test because as soon as I hear that someone is going to send me a worksheet, someone is going to send me a test, I just go, oh no. I personally wasn't, I was an okay student, but I have this blockage where really you want me to sit down and write? No, 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 no. Let me do. Let me visualize. Let me manifest. Allow me to kick it. So I'm not real big on paperwork. That's just not me. So like I said, if you're interested in something like that, but this particular spell worked within 12 hours. And now I can tell you, as far as advanced candle magic, there's crystals involved. There's a lot of herbs and oils and different things. And of course, candles involved. So it is a materials, it can be a materials heavy course. So that might be an expense that you may not anticipate. Of course, if you do substitutions, that's entirely up to you. I can only advise you as to what I do and what works and what I know works for me. But this is something I've been thinking about for a while, and I know some of you are ready to take it to the next level. Now, I have gotten emails from several different people as far as learning, not Wicca, because you guys know I am not Wiccan, not by a long shot, but about invoking and evoking and things like that. Well, I can tell you right now to send me an email and to say, how do I invoke, how do I evoke this particular spirit? Now, I'm not talking about a god and goddess or a demon, even a demon, or a spirit guide, or anything like that. This particular person asked me about working with a person that was a criminal and did heinous, horrible, horrible things. And all I can say is these particular people that have come to me and said, what you're asking me to answer via an email has taken some people probably years to work on in their practice. Not that I don't want to share the information with you. It takes a lot of information. It takes a lot of practice, dedication, and I know that this particular person is not experienced enough to start invoking a criminal. I personally, there are so many things, archangels, god and goddesses, spirit guides, ancestors, what have you, that you could work with that will bring about the same result, other than bringing in someone who has done horrible, horrible things. I personally would not and will not ever bring a criminal into my practice and into my spiritual self. I'm very, very well protected. but I don't want these particular criminals to be made out as not not necessarily good guys, but these people should not be toyed with, because once, unless you are very experienced, once you have brought them into your aura, then you may find yourself getting into a little bit of trouble. So in that case, this is why, for one thing, I even to invoke or evoke a god or goddess or whatever can't be done in a simple email. Something like that just can't be done. I don't think. I mean, I could, give you a general gist, but I'm certainly not going to encourage you to work with people who have thought nothing of slaughtering an entire family. And, you know, I don't care what your problems are in your life. There are better ways to go about that. So I will leave it at that. But yeah, so I just kind of wanted to leave it at that. And now another candle reading for the second half of this particular, not spell, but for group of people. I have, absolutely, this is finished, finished, finished. This is done, done, done. Although by the time the candle burn got to right about here, the harassment had stopped. And although there was a few little things that I advised you on, this particular person was taken care of. But I still, even though that particular person was no longer harassing you, I continued to burn this. And I did not get any kind of darkening or blowback from this. So, of course, this was an incredibly successful novena candle. Now, this one I got started, and this is one of these things that I have told you guys about before to be wary of. And I'm very, very careful when I buy my candles. I look at the bottom to make sure if I can see a wick that it's centered. Well, I couldn't see on this one, but oh my goodness, look at how this has burned. I mean, half of the candle is still, you can see that the wick is off center. So I probably will continue to burn this candle, but I redid the novena candle because you can't read a candle like this. But, and simply because, not because the wax has stayed on the side, but because, as it burned down, I realized, okay, the wick is off center. This is not going to be a perfect burn. I do have, if I can get this out safely. I'm hoping I can. And I'll just have to keep it turned this way because there are names on this particular doom candle. Now, when I started this particular doom candle, as it started to burn down, there was not that much wax, but there was a wee bit of wax that clung to the side here. And I mean, I checked my wick. My wick was fine. And I started to give a reading at that point, and I said, you know what, no, I got to carry on and, carry on with the particular spell, which is why I know some people do one spell and it's one and done and that's it. But sometimes you have to work a spell and work it and work it and put a lot of your energy into it. But the sliver of wax, as the candle burned, I didn't see it fall, but it disappeared. So I am still working this particular doom candle, but don't, but to me, when one clings like this, it means that there's, something from the past. And although I can't say about this particular person, something about the past has, is still clinging on to it. But we have burned that away. I do see just a very slight variation, a little bit of darkness, not a lot. And I expected that, particularly with a doom candle. I always expect that. And now my my little embryo here, I believe you guys remember, I did a fertility spell, and here he is. And I put him in a little shell, and I keep him safe. And I've got Mummy's name and birth date here. Mummy's name and birth date are here. And when the time comes, which that will be February, I will be doing another quick outdoor spell, releasing and giving back to Mother Earth the contents of this. And this particular spirit in this, and the energy in this, will be put back to the earth, and he will be born. And I believe that I probably will video. It's a very, very quick video, but I'm going to share that with you. And I wanted to remind you guys that with the Yule season here, if you haven't done it yet, if you have to go out and go shopping, go to your local discount big box store and buy your fresh mistletoe. It just so happens I was out, I think it was last week, and I found it. Those of you who are starting or have already started to work with the Fae or the Wee Folk, you know that you should be carrying mistletoe and St. John's so that you won't become fairy led. So the next time I go up to the Hollow, I've got my mistletoe here. I am not back in the South to where they give this away for free, unfortunately, but I do have my fresh mistletoe here, and I'm going to be carrying this with me. I'm going to be giving some offerings, and kind of going from there. So now is a great time to stock up on some fresh mistletoe. I'm going to put this in the fridge and go from there. I want to thank you guys so much for joining me. And as usual, please comment below and let me know what you would like to see this coming year. I'm going to be working, I think I'm going to concentrate, at least at the beginning of the year, making our oils and our herbs do kind of double multitasking, or double or triple duty. So when you do get an essential oil and you do spend X amount of dollars on this herb, that herb, or whatever, not only can you use it in your magic, but you can also use it in your mundane life. And so the next one that I'm going to be presenting will be kind of like health and beauty. I have already shared my immunity with you, and I've shared my elderberry syrup recipe with you, and I've also told you, as far as hibiscus, as far as a face mask is concerned, I'm going to be sharing just a very slight recipe with you for face, for wrinkles, acne, scars, things like that I use nightly after a shower. My pores are open. It goes on my face and stays on my face all night long. And I'm going to be sharing that with you. And I hope that you have that essential oil. And I have decided I'm going to be making up just a very few vials of this particular oil, and I will be selling that on my website. So if you're interested in that, go to my website and let me know that you're interested. The oil itself may be too cost prohibitive for you to just go out and buy a bit and make your own oil up from time to time, but buying it from me will give you an opportunity to try it out. A vial, an ounce vial, should probably last you a good 6 months, depending on how you use it. Now, if you start using it on scars here and there, or uh, it probably would be very good for a muscle rub if you have a sore muscle. Some of us are going to be working out really, really soon with after Yule, and like I've been doing already, but it's very good for sore muscles and things like that. But I'm going to be sharing that recipe with you, and I would be thrilled if you're interested in it to, let me know via my website, and I can get it packed up and shipped to you straight away. Thank you so much for joining me. It truly means so, so much. I want to say merry part, and I hope to merry meet again. Goodbye, guys.